I'm going to tell you a story again, because keep telling it, nobody's listening. Dodge Brothers v. Ford Motor Company. The most important case in American history, in my opinion, and super relevant to everything everybody's talking about right now, but nobody seems to know that it exists. You ready? Pay attention. 1919, Henry Ford says, I got an idea. I am going to screw over the Dodge Brothers and all the other car companies and run them all out of business by dumping the price of the Ford so that everybody can afford to buy it. And the Dodge Brothers, who also happen to be big shareholders in the Ford Motor Company, are going to be out of money, and nobody's going to be buying their cars anymore because everybody's going to be buying Fords because they're so much cheaper than all the other cars. He basically drops the price of the Model T so low that he's not really making any money on it. I think he might actually be losing money on it. And honestly, if at that point he had said, I am doing this to put everybody else out of business, it would have been totally fine. That, totally cool. That's how business works. But he had to be funny about it, had to seem like a cool guy. So instead, he publicly said, the reason that I am doing this is because it's good for the working man, everybody should have a car, it's good for America, blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm lowering the price of cars so everybody can afford it, and I'm raising the salaries of all the people who work for me, all the guys on the line, because it's good for America, it's good for them, and yada, yada, yada. That's the reason I'm doing this, and I'm intentionally lowering the amount of money going to my stockholders so that it instead goes to all this other stuff because that is good for America. Dodge Brothers sue him and say, hey, we own a bunch of stock in the Ford Motor Company and he is making our stock worth less money. He can't do that. And the court says, you know what? You're right. He can't do that. From now on, anytime you are a company that has shareholders, every single decision you make must be to increase profit, which also means usually to lower your costs. Every decision, no matter what decision it is, you are not allowed to make it because it's good for the environment, because it's good for your workers, because it's good for anything else. Only if it's good for profit. That has to be the reason. Now, could you start using a biodegradable container? Sure, as long as the reason you're doing it is because you're going to advertise that you're doing it and it's going to drive up profits. As long as the reason is profits, increased profits, you can do anything you want as a business. But the reason has to be profits. Always profits. It has been 104 years since then? We have had 104 years of every corporation having a duty to increase profits with every decision they make. Guess where we are today? Corporations pushed through a right to speak on their own behalf and on political decisions, which is Americans United, whatever the hell the name of that court case is. It's out of my head right now. Citizens United. And they actually started lobbying as corporations to do things like remove regulations, which hurt their profits. It took a long time to get there. They had to really work slowly to get to the point where Citizens United was passed. But they finally did it, and now they are basically able to do anything they want with the end goal and the duty of increasing profits at every single turn. So you ask, how can Trump speak to a room full of businessmen who know that his policies are going to destroy America and actually hurt them personally, but they still keep applauding for him? Because it's increasing profits, and they have a duty to increase profits no matter what. His policies reduce regulation, reduce taxes. They fulfill the duties of these business people. That's it. They fulfill their corporate duties. So he's on their side. End of story. It doesn't matter what they're doing to America because Dodge Brothers v. Ford Motor Company doesn't allow them to care about America. That's the rule. So learn about this case. Pay attention to it. It's the most important case we should all be paying attention to right now. Learn it.